having my dream home in Canada would bring me happiness, I was wrong. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why leaving Canada was the best decision for my family and how you can design your abundant aesthetic life. In today's video, I'll walk you through the struggles I faced in Canada and how I found a new sense of fulfillment in Vietnam. Growing up in Canada, my dream was simple. I wanted a dream house, a stable home base, and I wanted to travel around. When we got into our new home, I was so excited. It was so beautiful. It was a new build. It was spacious, modern, and perfect for raising a family. I wanted this home because Canada was all I knew. It felt safe, familiar, and like the perfect foundation for my life. The idea was to eventually get a second home somewhere else warm. I truly believed that Canada would always be my home country. Why I left Canada? Life unfolded. Things didn't feel as perfect as I thought they would. Here's what changed my mind. One, the high cost of living here. After moving into our home, the Canadian mortgage market hit the all-time high. My husband and I always believed we could afford the house and still travel, but when we crunched the numbers, it became clear we had to give up some of our freedom. Another reason why we decided to leave was the house prices. They're ridiculously high. I saw no future for my kids, how they're gonna get housed. I know that they could, the way me and my husband are saving for them. However, for the average middle-income families, it was impossible for their kids and future kids and the next generation to get houses here unless you had a certain amount of income. Even though we had a certain amount saved, to qualify for a mortgage, you have to have a certain amount of income coming in, and you can't even use a rental income. It's just ridiculous how difficult they make it for people to get houses in Canada. So I realized we didn't want to be stuck in a rat race, working hard just to pay off a house. It wasn't worth it anymore. If something happened, like if business slowed down because of economy or unexpected expenses, we have like no flexibility. Another reason why we decided that we wanted to move was the limited opportunities. You can make huge money in Canada, but there's limited opportunities for the middle class to grow their wealth versus in the US. It was really easy for my uncle to build a real estate empire. He bought 4 or 5 houses over there. It's actually really hard to do that in Canada, the way the rules are with getting mortgages and getting loans here. So that was just one example of the limited opportunities. My husband pointed out that if we stayed in Canada, we might miss out on better opportunities abroad. We started thinking about how we could create a better future for ourselves and our kids elsewhere. Just today I read something in the comments saying that Canada ranked one of the best school systems. However, the school system doesn't align with my values. If you want to watch one of my videos, I do talk about a little about why we took our kids out of the school system. I wasn't fully satisfied with the school system and wanted something that aligned better with our values. I really wanted my kids to focus about family, being respectful, money, business, entrepreneurship versus what gender you are. No offense to others. So yes, that I won't get into, but another reason is community challenges. I wanted to find some like-minded people. It was kind of hard to find like-minded people who shared our family values and goals. And when you got into a group, people are more likely to just hang out with the people they grew up with, even though they're not like-minded. They just are comfortable and that's all they know. The biggest wake-up call came when I realized we were too comfortable and everyone around us seemed content with the status quo. But I wanted more for my family, a life of like growth, exploration, and freedom. And it felt kind of lonely because we always were out exploring in Ontario, up north, fishing and going to nature. We always did it alone as a family. And we wanted to see more in the world and want to explore and travel. Yeah, it got a little bit lonely. It just seemed a bit harder to kind of form friends that wanted to do the same thing as you. Now, we still need to cover how I completely shifted my perspective. But before we dive into it, hit that subscribe button if you're thinking about creating your own abundant life. What changed my perspective? Well, during the time our home was being built, we lived abroad for a year or two, splitting our time between north of Ontario and going to Florida. These experiences completely shifted my mindset. We were actually going to different Airbnbs month to month to different places. It was nice to see the different places to live in north of Ontario because we love fishing, we love exploring the lake and being outdoor. We were there during the winters and saw a fox. The kids loved it. It was a nice experience. We were far from home, but still close. We were only 2-3 hours away from our hometown. So it was a step for us to have that experience living abroad. It gave us some space to kind of like reflect on what we truly wanted in life, basically. So after that experience being up north in Ontario, living abroad within Canada, my husband and I were looking into where should we go next. We thought to go to Banff. We were thinking road trip there and how long it would take, how much it cost. It was actually pretty expensive. Then we looked into going to Florida. So we chose Florida over Banff. It was the same amount of money going to Florida. I know Banff is really beautiful, but at the time being, we decided to go somewhere that was nice and hot. So we ended up going to Florida. Florida was such a game changer for us. It blew our mind of what kind of lifestyle people have over there. And everyone was just so chill. The warm weather, the freedom, and the lifestyle showed me what life could be. For the first time, I realized I didn't have to keep my dreams as just dreams. I can actually make them my reality for my family and I. So when we finally moved into our new built home, it just felt so different after being in Florida. It just didn't feel right anymore. And I wanted something more. I was like, this is it. We're not going to go on those trips anymore. I wanted to be somewhere more tropical and warm most of the years. That was the shift when me and my husband started thinking differently of what kind of lifestyle we wanted and really considering that maybe this is something that we want to keep doing. That's when my husband and I actually started thinking seriously about selling our house and finding a new destination that we could call home. But before I talk about why I chose Vietnam, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more Vietnam content. So why did we choose Vietnam? After months of research and discussions, we landed on Vietnam. And to be honest, my first choice was Japan. There were other good places that I was researching for raising a family, but Japan was up on that list. And my husband and I actually wanted to be in Asia because we love Asian food, and I think we can't survive without eating Asian food. Because of the language barrier, it would be harder for me and my husband to get around and do things there and to figure out how to actually live there long term. However, we did keep seeing Vietnam coming up, but all we saw was that it was really affordable. I did question my husband if that's something he would want, but he said no right away just because of what his family has said to him in Canada, that Vietnam is a place to raise your kids and family. But anyways, sidetrack, we chose Vietnam. Here are some of the reasons that it checked off so many boxes for us. One is affordability. That's the obvious. When I compare the cost of living to Vietnam to Canada, it's no brainer that we could live more comfortable and save money and still have the freedom to travel and invest for our future here. Another reason would be the language advantage, because my husband can speak Vietnamese. It would just be easier to do things versus what I was saying about going to Japan. So it reassured me that it was worth exploring, and that gave me the confidence to give it a try. Vietnam is a place where family values are the center of everything. It's the perfect environment to raise our kids. When I came to my husband's hometown, I noticed that all his family are so close and they eat like dinner together. That's something that what I want for my girls, even when they get older, that they always want to come visit me. Another reason would be the vibrant community. I found an amazing community of like-minded people who share our values. I've connected with people who truly understand the importance of family, education, and the lifestyle that we have. Our kids love it and my husband loves it. It doesn't feel as lonely. They're like family to us now here. We're just so used to seeing each other weekly. It's cool. It's just nice that I went across the world and found a crew for myself here. Life here feels more relaxed. There's no obsession with status, keeping up with trends, except I've seen some youngsters here that keep up with trend. But other than that, they're not hardcore up to the trends and the societal expectations like back in Canada. I can design my life on my own terms without worrying about what other people think of me. What I gained from moving to Vietnam. Looking back now, moving to Vietnam was one of the best decisions we ever made. Here is what I gained. One, the freedom to design my life. I don't feel tied down by financial burdens. I'm free to focus on what truly matters to me, which is more time with my family and personal growth, and also time to do things I love, to invest in my family and myself. Life is slower here, which gives me a chance to reflect and grow and create a meaningful experience in my lifetime. Another one is opportunities to invest in my goals. When I got to Vietnam, I started investing a little bit more into myself and my business. That's something that I really appreciate. I've been able to prioritize what's important without limitations limitations. What else that has helped me was a new perspective on life. Vietnam has given me a second chance to live life differently. I'm not just here for what this country just gave me. I'm also here to give back and help it grow too. Try giving back to the less fortunate and helping them grow their business by supporting their business, buying stuff from the locals. So it's not just all about me, it's about giving back to this country and what they have gave to me and giving me this opportunity. If you ever felt stuck in the rat race or wondered if there was more to life than where you are now, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. Moving to Vietnam has completely changed my perspective, and I hope my story inspires you to think about what's possible for your own life. If you love this video, you should check out this one that dives deeper into the pros and cons in living in Vietnam. Thanks for watching, and let's grow and glow and flourish together.